Could the fight against child exploitation become a Trojan horse for sweeping data surveillance? Investigative journalist Whitney Webb suggests exactly that. Through a recent series of tweets, she weaves together the agendas of a revered nonprofit, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, and a powerful data analytics firm, LexisNexis. On the surface, their partnership seems natural. Big data capabilities might help track missing minors and thwart online predators. Yet Webb warns that the deeper these collaborations go, the more they risk enabling an expansive surveillance grid, spearheaded by individuals with roots in intelligence work and advanced analytics. Her tweets unwind a tapestry of overlapping board memberships, controversial personal histories, and a quiet push toward biometric digital identity. She also calls attention to connections with blockchain innovators, noting that once decentralized technology might be co-opted by corporate players skilled in data aggregation. By blending philanthropic imperatives with cutting-edge identification systems, the mission to protect children could morph into a platform for monitoring entire populations. Let's look at Webb's statements, where each of her concerns snaps into place like puzzle pieces, forming a stark reminder that noble causes can sometimes pave the way for more invasive mechanisms. From the start, Webb focuses on NCMEC's leadership and how it intertwines with LexisNexis. In a tweet that cuts straight to the heart of her suspicions, she writes, "Also, Haywood Talcove was on the board of the NCMEC until very recently when another LexisNexis guy took over the spot. LexisNexis board member William Gross is also on the board of NCMEC, and LexisNexis itself is partnered with the group." The longtime head of the NCMEC, Ernie Allen, helped the Belgium government cover up the Dutroux affair, the country's worst elite pedo scandal ever, and NCMEC's international branch was launched as a result. It was formally launched by Hillary Clinton and Cherie Blair. There's a lot more where that came from too. See my past reporting on NCMEC. In just a few sentences, Webb names two high-level LexisNexis associates, Haywood Talcove and William Gross, who each held or hold seats on NCMEC's board. For outsiders, it might appear unremarkable. Corporate executives often support nonprofit boards. But Webb believes this indicates more than routine philanthropy. LexisNexis is a multi-pronged data giant with capabilities that extend far beyond legal research, from risk management to identity verification. If the company's influence seeps into NCMEC operations, it could shape data sharing procedures or even policy stances in ways not entirely driven by philanthropic goodwill. Most startling is Webb's reference to Ernie Allen, lauded for decades as a figure central to NCMEC's success. According to Webb, Allen helped the Belgium government cover up the Dutroux affair. Marc Dutroux's name is infamous in Europe for a string of appalling crimes involving the abduction and murder of minors in the mid-1990s. Belgians rioted in the streets, suspecting elite interference had stunted the investigation. Though mainstream U.S. discussions rarely mention Ernie Allen's involvement in that crisis, Webb claims he was instrumental in managing or obscuring the scandal's full scope. She further notes that NCMEC's international branch arose in the aftermath, championed by political heavyweights Hillary Clinton and Cherie Blair, two individuals whose very presence can bolster an institution's public image. By linking Allen to a troubling cover-up, Webb poses a question. How well do we really know the backgrounds of those tasked with safeguarding children's futures? She follows up with a succinct advisory. In other words, be aware of who you stand for, and just because a guy companies say what you want to hear at a congressional hearing doesn't mean they are your friends. Child protection is a cause that almost everyone supports. Politicians frequently praise nonprofits like NCMEC. Corporations champion them as exemplars of moral responsibility. But Webb insists that hearing a corporate executive declare loyalty to children's safety under oath doesn't necessarily protect us from hidden agendas. If LexisNexis stands to profit, either financially or by expanding its data troves, there's a conflict of interest that deserves scrutiny. With enough rhetorical prowess, an executive can secure robust backing for anti-crime measures that also open new pathways for collecting personal information. As if that weren't enough, Webb then shares a cryptic note referencing Michael Saylor, the outspoken CEO of MicroStrategy, and Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink. Her tweet simply reads, "Presented with no comment," alongside a link describing how Nazarov spotlighted Chainlink during an inauguration weekend. Soon after, she adds, LexisNexis is also closely partnered with Chainlink, and points to a page about blockchain identity. In the mainstream crypto world, Chainlink is celebrated for bridging real-world data with decentralized smart contracts. Its founder, Nazarov, is revered among many who see Chainlink as an essential oracle layer for the future of finance. Michael Saylor is famous for corporate Bitcoin adoption, preaching that cryptocurrency can serve as a hedge against inflation. Yet Webb implies that the presence of LexisNexis, well-versed in identity verification, within the Chainlink ecosystem could pave the way for more centralized oversight. If decentralized apps rely on data feeds curated by a massive for-profit analytics firm, can they retain the promise of user autonomy? Or will we see a new hybrid environment where trustless systems ultimately hinge on the watchful authority of corporate giants? She strengthens her case by delving into the figure of Alan Wade, another name absent from typical public discourse but apparently crucial in bridging intelligence practice with corporate interests. Webb's tweet states, "Fun fact, one LexisNexis board member, Alan Wade, helped create Total Information Awareness, its private analog, Palantir, and also set up a data mining firm with Ghislaine Maxwell's sister while serving in a top post at the CIA. See my past reporting here for more." For those unfamiliar, Total Information Awareness, TIA, was a post-9/11 DARPA program designed to gather and analyze enormous sums of personal data to preempt security threats. Public outcry over its Orwellian connotations led Congress to pull its official funding. Many critics, however, believe TIA's core methodologies merely regrouped in private or more discreet channels, such as Palantir, a data integration powerhouse used by government agencies. If Wade was intimately involved in TIA's creation and also formed a venture with a member of the Maxwell family, connected famously to Jeffrey Epstein's criminal network, then his role on LexisNexis's board suggests a corporate environment shaped by intelligence paradigms. This environment, in turn, might feed advanced data-driven solutions to nonprofits like NCMEC. Quietly, the architecture of TIA could reappear through corporate-labeled risk solutions, with far less public scrutiny than if a direct government agency continued to manage it. Around this juncture, one might wonder, if philanthropic missions truly guide these alliances, why do so many intelligence-linked figures keep surfacing at the helm? Webb's tweets encourage a closer look at the potential synergy between intelligence methodologies, mass data collection, broad profiling, and moral imperatives like saving children or fighting cyber threats. Child exploitation is a genuine scourge, but if it becomes the banner under which advanced ID checks and constant data monitoring are normalized, we risk drifting into an environment where everyone's information is comprehensively tracked. Agencies or nonprofits forging these systems can portray them as life-saving, but the public seldom sees the full architecture that might also monitor lawful activities, personal finances, or political leanings. Webb's cautionary tone intensifies with her final big assertion. LexisNexis, which markets unique, tokenized customer identifiers as one of its key products, and just acquired an AI-powered biometric digital ID company, is almost certainly pushing here to make digital ID a prerequisite for entitlement payments. Many governments wrestle with fraud in welfare and social programs. Requiring a verified digital ID can ensure that only qualified recipients receive benefits. Yet if such verification is controlled by a private data firm tied to intelligence practices, entire populations might soon be forced into a digital net that merges their biometric data with all aspects of their daily routines. A single data mismatch could lock someone out of unemployment checks or healthcare. Worse, if the underlying algorithms label a person as high risk for reasons that might never be disclosed, the consequences could be life-altering and nearly impossible to appeal. None of this, Webb acknowledges, invalidates the legitimate need to combat child exploitation. NCMEC, after all, has reunited missing kids with families and supported law enforcement in countless investigations. Still, from her viewpoint, philanthropy and security efforts can quietly dovetail into large-scale data expansions. The organization's moral authority, buttressed by endorsements from figures like Hillary Clinton and Cherie Blair, can deflect critical questions about corporate infiltration or intelligence backgrounds among its board members. The public, moved by the urgency of protecting children, may readily accept a new normal. Mandatory biometric checks, AI-driven identity scoring, or locked-down blockchain systems where large analytics firms control the gates. Such expansions are not unprecedented. After September 11th, fear of terrorism led to the Patriot Act and a broadening of surveillance capabilities that critics say remain in place, affecting routine civilian life. Now, child protection could serve a similar role, galvanizing near-universal support for technologically sophisticated solutions that double as data harvesting frameworks. By illustrating how nonprofits, intelligence veterans, and corporate boardrooms can align around a seemingly unimpeachable cause, Webb asks, can good intentions and sincere goals inadvertently spawn an infrastructure that monitors everyone, all the time? Tying blockchain to these systems only adds new layers to the debate. Cryptocurrency enthusiasts often tout decentralization as a bulwark against big banks and corporate meddling. If, however, the on-ramps to these networks rely on identity services from data giants like LexisNexis, then the freedom from central authority that many found so appealing could erode. Michael Saylor's embrace of Bitcoin, Sergey Nazarov's push for Chainlink oracles, and LexisNexis's identity products might converge into an ecosystem where user autonomy is overshadowed by robust identity checks. A system that ironically might require near-total compliance with corporate standards just to prove one's existence on the blockchain. Webb's final caution asks the public to stay vigilant. She doesn't deny the heartbreak that compels organizations like NCMEC to do everything possible to find missing children. Rather, she questions whether philanthropic missions sometimes obscure the details of who is collecting data, how it's being shared, and why intelligence-linked executives occupy influential positions. If these transitions are allowed to happen under the radar, entire societies could wake up to a reality where digital identity is mandatory not only for social services, but for receiving paychecks, accessing financial accounts, or even participating in day-to-day online activities. By then, it may be too late to peel back the layers of corporate and intelligence influence embedded in the system. Ultimately, Webb's tweets serve as a stark reminder that moral imperatives can accelerate large-scale data expansions with little opposition. The fight against child exploitation is an easy rallying point, because few would argue against more sophisticated methods of thwarting predators. But as nonprofits leverage technology to achieve these aims, the public should remain aware of who designs those tools, who sits on the boards, and how those systems might later be repurposed. Philanthropic goals and intelligence strategies need not be mutually exclusive, yet that overlap warrants constant scrutiny to ensure it doesn't morph into unchecked power. In a world where advanced algorithms, biometric scans, and cross-platform identifications are sold as indispensable protective measures, do we risk normalizing a surveillance apparatus that goes far beyond hunting down criminals? If the watchers are privately appointed, if they've shaped intelligence architecture in the past, and if the unstoppable moral force of child protection blesses each new data pipeline, the stage is set for an enduring imbalance of power. Many might believe they have nothing to hide, but once the infrastructure is in place, it can be deployed or expanded for countless other purposes. That is the heart of Whitney Webb's warning. She doesn't demonize child protection itself. She contends that it's a perfect shield behind which for-profit data extraction can flourish. By examining NCMEC's ties to LexisNexis, referencing the Dutroux affair, and noting the infiltration of intelligence talent into private boards, she sketches a possible future. One in which saving children merges seamlessly with digital ID mandates, identity gating, and intelligence-grade analytics. Asking thoughtful questions and demanding transparency is, in her view, the only way to ensure that philanthropic missions do not become unwitting vessels for a technology-driven net that captures us all, child and adult alike. SIM swap fraud is sweeping the globe, and your mobile security is at risk. Switch to Ifani and lock out SIM swap fraud and get the most elite mobile protection in the world. Ifani guarantees 100% protection from SIM swaps backed by a $5 million insurance policy. Stay secure with reliable coverage, free international roaming, and unlimited data. Trust Ifani to keep your communications and assets secure. Get military-grade protection, 24/7 concierge service, and a hassle-free upgrade. Click the link below for $150 off. Thanks for watching. Help support this channel and receive exclusive offers from one of our partners located in the description. We'll see you on the next one.